It's Christmas time.
Yes, it is. It's Christmas time, and I'm on my vacations, and I'm doing the second tutorial, and I will show you how to do this today. Simple stuff. So, water using TP. Eh. I wish I could do just one droplet. Well, I'm just joking. So today it's the tutorial, the second one, and as promised, it will be this small detail over here, the water or the fake water simulation just for this shot. And let's move on to 3D Studio Max. So this is it. We have the Alembic file over here, and well, this is just the final result. This is being calculated in real time, and I'm going to again start from scratch. I'm just showing you. We just turn off meshing and show the dots and the okay, this is it, and the deformation over here using the magnificent Hydrofield, one of the new features from TP. I never used before, but as always, thinkingParticles has a great community, and I'm going to show you how I've learned really quickly, like in half an hour, to use this Hydrofield that is kind of complex when you see all the stuff that you can use, and of course I don't know half of them, but for this specific job, and again this is TP used in production series, so we don't have to know everything to do what we want. So let's start it. Really enthusiastic. Let's remove this. So remove all of this and let's start from scratch. Okay, nothing happening now. So first, as always, when we are in a production, we have to analyze the stuff. So I'm going to unhide. So this is a really complex mesh. Some plane that I've done a Boolean to have this shape. Really hard stuff. And then I've made a really complex spheres over here. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And I've matched exactly on the place the character puts his feet. So here it's not exactly, but I can move and make a really difficult scale on it. Okay, so cool. So after the analysis is done, so what we will have, so we will have some particles coming in from these surfaces, and this plane will be an Hydrofield. We can choose this plane to become an Hydrofield, and you will see what will happen. So let's start. We will have some here, so I'm going to write it down, water. Then as always, this is my version. If Joe's car would make this or some other user, it will be completely different. But let's splash, let's write this down, and then we have trail, and then we have second trail, or trail number 2 and trail number 1. And I will explain you why I'm using this. But for now, let's create here a bunch of dynamic sets. And as always, let me just here put this one here and this one over here. Cool. Because to be faster, I have a reference over here just to check the values and so on. Because when you are doing a tutorial, you want to be fast and like 20 minutes, 30 minutes maximum. And the setup is really fast to make. When you lose time during a production is to tweak all the parameters until you find the correct ones. So for now, I don't want to waste this time. So dynamics, here I'm going to put solver. Well, solver or Hydrofield, something like that. Then the meshing, and then as always the export as a lambic. So let's leave it here. Export, and here I'm going to put this over here. I'm using this method because then I will use this on meshing. The water will mesh, so my mesh will use the splash trails. So this is subgroups inside the group water. Cool. So as always, we can create everything from scratch, or we can use some black boxes that Cebas and Joskar shared with us. So we want to generate something based on a surface, right? So we are going to the generators and node surface. And here, okay, now we just have to choose, because, well, I could do this and then save it for myself, but I'm not stupid, so I use the what Cebas provides us. So this is it. I'm going to create particles based on a surface position of a node. So I just have to pick the node. I'm going to pick the sphere. Oh, cool. There they are. And then let me just check it over here. So I'm going to create when the character hits. Bang. So let's assume it will be condition standard time interval and on. So it will be on frame, let's say 16. Okay, and then we will stop adding particles around, let's say 19. So for 3 frames it will create with a rate, or maybe we will just create it on 1 frame, like 500 particles. So let's give it a try. Just let me just check the values I have over here. Please forgive me, but it will be much faster. Okay, so speed 80. Let's go here and let's go to here. Speed 80 with a variation of 75, going up, and let's see what happens. Boom! Oh, beautiful. So I don't have a standard shape. I disable it, and I just want to see the particles, and this will be the splash. So on the PostionBorn, I have to say where to go. Go to splash, and here I use a color red. Okay, so let me just check it. Go, oh, boom, and there we have it. Big splash over here. So the first rule is created. I will just create this one, and then we will create the others, but for now let's see. And let's make some rules. Let's make them fall. So the splash or the water, I will say the water will fall down. So this specific rule will affect the splash and the trails. Okay, so water, and once again it's really cool, and if you saved already your gravity, you can use it here. If you click 2 times, it will collapse everything, and if you want to see the inputs, you have to click it on this green stuff over here. Okay, so point 3 to define the direction, the vector over here, and again let's say, let me just check the values I've used again here. Dynamics and the force. Okay, so minus 500. This will be much faster like this. 500. Okay, and the value on Z. So we'll see, boom, it's going up and coming down. So simulating the gravity. Then I will have to check if these values are correct, but it seems so. Oh, with a variation of 75%. Cool. So this is it. Our first splash done. Now, you see that this happens a lot. You have particles going below the ground, and to avoid this, it's super simple. Let's make a rule to delete all the particles that go below 0. And how to do that? ParticleDie. Okay, I'm just showing where it is. So operator, standard, ParticleDie. Okay. And okay, ParticleDie. Die in time 0? No. I have to define where or when will it be on. So it will be on. I'm just copying this point. In this case, just to get the position. So you can here expose the position and connect here, but you also can connect to the particle to assume its position. It's the same, but I'm used to connect to here. So this way I have the position for each particle, and I have to say condition. So again, I'm going to the black boxes, conditions, and when it's less than, so when the Z value it's below floating, oops, sorry, float here, so the condition will be on. Let me just check where we are here. So okay, sorry, I pressed the wrong key. So okay, let's say okay, and if you see, the particles are being deleted here. So if I put 1 over here, or 10 or 5, you see what's happening. So it's checking its position in Z, and deleting it. So I think it's enough. So this way you avoid extra calculations and slowing down stuff. Okay, so the first rule is ready. We can make already the first trail. And how to make a trail. So I'll use this a lot of times, and I'm going to explain quickly why. So imagine like this, you have the splash group, and you want to create the trail. So it's a PostionBorn. So basically we are saying, hey, in each particle from splash and its position, again, borns a second particle, and that goes to trail 1. And we're going to pistol shot, and what is happening? Per call, sorry. So each frame, boom, it borns another one and another one and another one, and we have the trail. Of course, we have to be careful, because when we make the PostionBorn, we are adding some speed. The default is, so if you want to make 0, and this way it will not have additional velocity. So as you can see, we can see the trail, and the trail is falling down because we have the rule here that every subgroups has this force applied. Okay, if I change this only for the splash, you will see that the trail will not fall down. Okay, Cool. So this way only the red particles, only the splash is going down, and this is really cool to see the trajectory of the original particles. But let's make the rule apply to all the particles. Cool. And we have the basic splash. Then we can tweak it a little bit, but for now let's just continue. And let's create this Hydrofield. Okay, so now comes the tricky part that takes a lot of time to make the tweakings. So I lost around 30 minutes until I got the cool values. So let's go here, Hydrofield, and if you choose here, so it's basically you just have to choose what is the mesh that will become your Hydrofield. Okay, and nothing happens because you have to tweak a lot of values. So let's start tweaking them. I'm going to open on my reference the values. You are not seeing because it's on the second monitor. And let's see. So first of all, we want the splash to happen. So let's just check if anything is happening now. I don't. Just one thing. When you choose this plane, so basically this plane as your origin from Hydrofield here, you should hide it. Okay, hide it, because when you choose here, it will become inside TP, and if you want to see the deformation happening, and you have the original object above, it will be a mess. You will not see what's happening, or it will be more difficult to see. So as always, I recommend always to, when you are learning some stuff to like Hydrofield, just open the manual and start reading what these values mean, so you can well, you are going to trial error, like you change a value and see what's happening, but many times you have to come here when you don't understand what's happening. So basically, let me just put here the values that I've used. So I wanted the wave speed a little bit faster, and the damping of the wave to occur really fast also, so I don't have the wave coming out. Viscosity I've used, so here the standard values. Okay, and here on the splash, here it's where the magic happens. Sorry, let me just, because I have this girl here in front of the camera, but let me position this, and let's see when we turn this on. So over the splash we have to choose here the water stuff. So let's see, it didn't happen a lot because we have checked the values again. So let me just check here the values, the reference values. Okay, so here I don't want to create okay, I'm just going to put all these values to 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, and the friction 0, impact to field 10, mass factor, let's make it 0, 1, impulse grid 3, and I think this should be it. Let's just check it. So when you saw me changing these values, you saw that something was happening on the Hydrofield. Okay, and this is it. Basically, you start seeing the interaction of the particles with this. So basically, the more you create over here, so let's say, let's see how many particles I have. 500. Let's try it on 1000 particles. This will reflect and add more distortion on the mesh. And of course, this is TP used in production, and of course, if I had to make a realistic splash, I maybe would use another software, or maybe I would use TP, but in another completely different way. I would maybe feel feel about an object with particles and convert them to liquids and so on. But these are the tutorials, so you can understand that sometimes you can obtain a really fast solution. I don't know how much time I lost in this, but I think in this tutorial we have like 5 minutes. And let's just make another thing cool over here, that is the meshing. And let's mesh it, the water, using, so this is really cool because I'm only using TP. I don't need any other software to do this. So we are going to make an implicit shape. Sorry. And this is it. Let's just check. Oh, magnificent. And again, this is in real time, of course. Sorry. And we can tweak the values over here until we are satisfied. Of course, these are the standard values that sometimes it depends on the scale of your scene and so on. You have different values over here. So let me just check it over here and again use my reference, so it's much faster, but I will change the value and you will see it in real time what's happening over here. Okay, so of course, if you want to understand a little bit better these values, again you just open the manual, ImplicitShape, and start reading. Okay, so let's just check it. Of course, when you start using this, afterwards you don't have to read all the time because you know exactly what this stuff do. So if you want better resolution, for instance, here you just change it over here and you get a denser mesh. Of course, when you change these values, of course all the above values have to be different, because if you do like this, like it has not so much geometry over here, so the scale has to be different, for instance the scale per particle. So if you do like this, then you have to change this value. And okay, so let's just disable the particles over here. Okay, so we can see, and let's just make apply a material, a grayscale material, so we can make a preview. And they are over here, material, shape material, and let's drag here a material instance. Okay, just so we can have grayscale over here. And let's so the original camera it's at this distance. I'm just going to make a perspective preview, so with a little bit more detail over here, and preview it. Bang! We have our splash and we have our ripples on the water, and of course we can tweak it out, and it's really cool. As you can see, the water is a little bit slow, slow motion, so we can add more gravity, and of course we can tweak the velocity of the ripples and so on. But this is just so you can check it out, and then you can tweak your own values and make your own experience. I'm just finishing this up, saying that if you want to add the second splash and you have all the rules defined, so this is really easy to do, because you go to the birth, okay, and you just copy this, bang, okay, and you just need to change. So let me just unhide the second really complex sphere and the third. Okay, this one I'm going to check when he hits the water. So once again, I mentioned that we are seeing everything in real time, computing. This is not. So let's say he at frame 30, so 30 to 31, we have an extra, but this time I have to choose the second sphere, okay, this one. Bang, we have more water and everything works. And imagine the complexity of having to copy this to the third position here on the side, and then we have to check it when he hits the other stuff up, bang, on frame 33. So 43, okay, 43, 44. So we have to choose this node over here, bang, and oops, not thinking particles, sorry, it has to be the sphere. Okay, cool. And let's make another, let me just for fun, let's just change a little bit the force. Let's say 600, so the splash. Oh, and I have another rule I forgot, but for now I think this is enough to share another cool technique used in production. So let's just finish it up with a preview, and I hope you like this. Bang, splash, splash. And as you can see, all the ripples are working accordingly because the rules are predefined and the Hydrofield reacts to it. Okay, really cool. I hope you liked it. And of course, there are particles over here that we should have. Maybe we can just make a little bit upper and so on. But this is a tutorial so you can learn some cool stuff and not to be a finished simulation like I did for the shot for the movie. I hope you have liked it, and Merry Christmas. I will return next year. Bye bye. Ciao.